Alrighty, here comes another episode on how to factor. This is a different form of factoring. This is factoring when you have a coefficient in front of x squared that is not a GCF, so you can't factor him out like in our last video. Now there are multiple ways you can do this. One of them is called guess and checking, and guess and checking is fine. If that's what you are used to. There's also another method called splitting the middle term, also known as Batman in some small groups of people, and I'll show you how to do that as well. It's also known, like I said, as splitting the middle term. Now, guessing and checking. Guessing and checking could be pretty quick if it's an easy thing to guess and check with. So for example, to do this, you know you're about to have two sets of parentheses, and we can have our 2x and our x. And we could add 3 and 1, or it could be 2x plus 1 and x plus 3. So those are the two different options that we have for this one, simply because, you know, the factors of 2 are just 2 and 1, and the factors of 3 are just 3 and 1. So then you just have to kind of foil in your head. 3 times x is 3x, 2x times 1 is 5x, so it's not that one. 2x times 3 is 6x, 1 and x is another x, so 6x and 1x is 7x, which is what we're trying to get. Here you go. This is the way that you would do it. Now, before you think that's the greatest way because it just took 2 seconds, look at number 2. Number 2, it could be 6 times 1, or it could be 2 times 3, or it could be 3 times 2 because order does matter with these. And 15, it's negative. It could be negative 15 and a positive 1, positive 15 and a negative 1. It could be a positive 5 and a negative 3, a negative 5 and a positive 3. And those are just a whole bunch. So you might check 8 times before you find the correct answer for number 2. You might guess and check that many times. So in this one, I'll show you splitting the middle term, also known as Batman. The first thing you want to do is multiply the first and last terms together. So 6x squared times a negative 15 is a negative 90 x squared. And then what you're going to do is you're going to split that middle term into 2 terms that follow that special number game that we did, in the last video. So what 2 numbers multiply to a negative 90 but add to a negative 1? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to multiply to that guy, and you're going to add to this guy. So negative 90 is what we're multiplying to. We're going to add to a negative 1. So that, what it does, it takes a little bit more work, but in the event of when you're guessing and checking, it could save you tons of time. So what you're going to do is you're going to split that. So what 2 numbers multiply to a negative 90 but add to a negative 1? That would be a negative 10x and a 9x. Okay, you got to keep the x's with. We're splitting the x squared as well. So then what you're going to do is you are going to bring down the 6x squared, the very first term, and now you're going to bring back down the last term, the negative 15. All we did was split the middle term of negative x to a negative 10x and a 9x, and of course that's a positive 9, so we got our plus. Okay, so now what do we do from here? Well, we're just going to do a little bit of grouping. So we're going to group the first 2, we're going to group the second 2. Factor out your GCF of this, which would be a 2x, leaving you with 3x minus 5 on the inside. And we're going to factor out our GCF of the next group, which is going to be a 3, leaving us with a 3x minus 5 on the inside again. Now check out what happened. The insides are the exact same. So we're going to use that as a multiplication piece. And the other one is 2x times 3, or 2x and 3. So that's combine them to a 2x and a positive 3. And you're done. You've just factored using splitting the middle term, also known as Batman. Now, where does a Batman come from? Well, if you draw these little things, you can get the little, you got these little wing-a-ling bats. Okay? Draw a little bit like that, and hey, you're done. You can give it some angry eyes because you love factoring so much. So there you go. That's another way you can do it. Now, like I said, if you want to guess and check, that's fine. If you want to use splitting the middle term, that's fine. I mean, this is one of those things where, to me, I don't care how you get it as long as you get the right answer. All right, so that's splitting the middle term. So we have two examples here. We have number 3 and we have number 4 that I'm going to let you pause the video and try on your own. So go for it. So let's see if you got these right. This one, you got their negative 420, which will split to 21 and negative 20. So then you just take out your GCFs after you group. You should have a final answer of 3x minus 4 and 5x plus 7. For this guy, there are two ways to do it, but the best way to do it would have been to factor out your GCF of 4 first. That would have left you on the inside. You do your split the middle term with just the inside, and then you bring your 4 down at the end. You could still get it correct by doing it the other way. But then at the very end, you would have had to factor out the GCF of your final answers again, and you would have been able to obviously get it that way. But if you did not pull out the GCF first, I bet if you were to look at your piece of paper right now, that you could pull out a GCF out of both of these terms, and then obviously you would combine those GCFs, so it's probably a 2 and a 2, and you would make a 4. Okay? Just thought I'd let you know. All right, this is Longo, and I'm out. See you, bye.